Hey guys, welcome back to the channel this week. We are back in Fernandina Beach, staying at Fort Clinch State Park. This week we're planning on showing you a little bit more around the town of Fernandina Beach, which we didn't do last time. And if you're new here, I'm Chuck.
And I'm Allie, and we're AlliChuck Adventures.
Well, we have an alarm going off over here. Something to do with our jacks. We don't know what's going on. We're going to have to pull off now and inspect the jacks to see if it's hydraulic pressure issues, if it's something to do with the connection. Maybe the hose connection could be leaking off hydraulic. I don't know, but we got to find out what it is because it's not safe to drive with it. We may have to manually raise them up just to make sure that they are locked in place. Fun times. Always something. Always something.
So yeah, fun times. No more and get a half a mile down the road. We're pulling off. I'm having to check the jacks to make sure that they're actually in the up position, which they were. I did a little manual up and down on them, and that seemed to fix the problem. And before we left Fort Clinch, I actually did top off the fluid levels in the reservoir tank on the pump, and we didn't have any problems going on home. So one more thing to add to the list of repairs.
So this is our second time here back at Fort Clinch State Park. And let me tell you that this drive is absolutely gorgeous. It's about a 2-mile drive back to the campground. And you do have to be careful because there are some low-hanging branches that you want to watch out with your rig as you're driving back and exiting, because you don't want to end up scraping the top of your rig on those branches. But we loved it the first time that we were here, and we are loving it just as much the second time. It is an absolutely gorgeous drive.
And you definitely need to pay attention to the bicycles and runners on this road, because there is a lot of activity on in this state park, as far as especially bicycles. We've noticed for the most part. There was an instance last year where kind of semi close to dark where I almost didn't see a bicycle. So you definitely want to drive slow and pay attention, because bicycles can come around these curves pretty quick. So one thing we did last year, but we didn't really know much of the history of it, is we went over here and checked out the Amelia Island Lighthouse. And we're going to drive back over there today because it's Saturday and it's only open on Saturdays from 10 to 2. We're going to head back over there and check that out again and give you guys a little bit of information that we found out about this lighthouse. So we learned that this is the oldest lighthouse in Florida, built in like 1838.
So the last time we were here, they didn't even have it open. Today, you can actually go inside. You just can't go up the stairs. It's for employees only. But it's pretty neat because you can actually go in and see the old bricks that they used.
So if you happen to be staying here at Fort Clinch State Park, I mean, this Amelia Lighthouse, it is just like literally right across from the park. I mean, you just come out the entrance and you basically take your first right and follow it around. I mean, it's a quick little experience, and I wish you could climb up into the top. That would be nice. But they probably don't allow people to do that because it looked a little sketchy. Probably a little dangerous, you know. But now we are going to go check out something we did not know that was here the last time we were here. And that is Pippi Longstocking's house, where they did the filming for that series. Now, I've never seen the series, but I guess Allie has.
Yeah, I don't really remember the Pippi Longstocking series that well, but I do remember that she had red hair, little pigtails or braids, and she was a mischievous little girl. That's about all I remember about it.
So this is the Pippi Longstocking house where they filmed the series. I guess the series was in the late 80s into the early 90s, so probably why I don't remember it. I would have been a teenager at that time, and I would have been past the age of wanting to watch it. But I guess this here is an historic site as well, just right across the street, because this is Fernandina Plaza Historic State Park. I guess there must have been a fort here. You can see a cannon over there. And there is some information placards, so we'll go check those out here in a second. Fort San Carlos was on this bluff overlooking the Amelia River, completed in 1816. So it was created with wood and earthworks, so that is why there is nothing here left of it. But you can see the Amelia River right here. Wow, that cannon is old. I mean, the wood has obviously been refreshed, but man, that thing is really pitted. All the salt air. Yeah, you can see here, 1811, old Fernandina. Shipwreck, slavery, and survival.
It's hard to believe all those years ago. This is a fort here, protecting this land.
Boy, it is so nice today, isn't it? Compared to yesterday.
Oh my gosh, yesterday the wind was horrible.
We were at
Today it's so peaceful. So yesterday we were at Fort Clinch showing our friends the fort, and the wind was so bad it was 22.
a little bit windy today. We are back at Fort Clinch, and my goodness, it's windy this weekend. We're taking Craig and Susan. They have never been to Fort Clinch before, surprisingly enough, because Craig, you grew up in this area, didn't you?
Yeah, I carved my initials.
Oh, yeah. Is that a C or is that an E?
That's
though?
a C. We're going to go with a C.
Okay. Yeah, and you got your walkway around the edge of the fort. This is such a cool fort here at Fort Clinch. We're not going to film too much this time, guys, here, since we were here last summer. So if you were interested in seeing more of Fort Clinch and what we saw last summer, we'll leave a link to that up above and down in the description below. But this is, it's very cool that we're getting to see stuff this time that we didn't get to see last time. And we're getting to experience it with friends.
Today is so calm, so much better.
It was cold yesterday, too, with that wind.
Wind was just, it made it so frigid.
Yeah.
I was worried that I was going to get sick, and I actually felt like in the middle of the night that I was starting to get a little bit of an ear issue, but I'm fine today.
Yeah, it is actually very comfortable today. Same temperature, but just without the wind. Wow, how can you imagine living in a house like that? That would be awesome. Sit up there on your porch, ceiling fans running, looking out over the Amelia River here. Nice. As Allie pointed out here, looking at the Pippi Longstocking house, you can see that they have a Pippi Longstocking doll tacked onto the door there. That is a cool looking house, though. I just wonder what the view would look like from that, that top window up there. Apparently, I was reading that this house just sold in like 2021, I think it was, for like $640,000. Doesn't seem like that high of a price to pay for a house right here with this view and everything and the history. Pretty cool. Yeah, Allie just looked up the series on her phone here. The TV series. We might have to go back and see if we can find a few episodes and just to see it.
I forgot that her braids went straight out.
So right now we're heading over to see our friends Craig and Susan, who are staying at a KOA about 30-40 minutes from where we're staying here at Fort Clinch. Our actual plans for today was to go to Cumberland Island and do the 5-6 hour tour of the island. Apparently we didn't plan good enough because the 9 a.m. ferry was full when we went online last night to look. And we could have only gotten the basically 11:45 ferry, and then the 5 o'clock ferry was full for the return trip. So we would have only been able to stay there for like an hour or so, and that's just not enough time. Plus, when I started looking at that tour, that's the van tour that takes you through the island, that's like 5 or 6 hours long, it was full and it was booked. So we're definitely going to have to plan another trip up this way and do Cumberland Island. I mean, I'm pretty disappointed. That's what I wanted to do this time. But I just didn't know that it was such a popular thing that you really kind of got to plan it out in advance. So I think what we're going to do, me and Allie were talking last night, is once we get the RV fixed and everything and we're out of school and everything, that we will plan another trip up here. And I think we're going to go on over into the Georgia side and stay at Crooked River Campground. That's at Crooked River State Park in Georgia. That will put us closer to St. Mary's and where the shuttle to the Cumberland Island takes off from there. And we'll just plan that, and we'll plan it in advance. We'll make sure we, as we book the campground, that we're booking also the trip for then, and just hope that the weather is not, bad on the day that we've booked it, because we could have gotten out tomorrow. Today is Saturday, the 15th. Tomorrow we could have gotten out, but it's supposed to be like 95% rain all day. And I just, that's a lot of money because it's $20 one way on the shuttle $20 back. So you're looking at, that's $80 just for me and Allie. And then it's like $65 for the van tour a piece. So it's a pretty good chunk of change to book and then find out the weather's going to be crap and you can't, enjoy it. So we'll just, we're going to have to save that for another time. But we are heading over to St. Mary's today. We're going to check out the Submarine Museum Craig was telling us about, and probably grab lunch over there at one of those restaurants. We did that last year when we were here. Maybe try to find something else, a different place to eat this time while we're there. So Craig and Susan had told us about this submarine museum here in St. Mary's, Georgia. Since we couldn't do Cumberland Island, we thought, yeah, let's check this out, because Allie's brother actually served on a nuclear submarine during his time in the Navy. Now this museum here in St. Mary's, it's called St. Mary's Submarine Museum. It is at 102 St. Mary Street West in St. Mary's, Georgia. Open Tuesdays through Saturdays, so they are closed on Monday and Sundays. But they had so much stuff in this museum. If you are into the Navy and submarines, you definitely would want to check this place out. It is pretty extensive, and the gentleman who, was working there that day, he also had a lot of information. He knew everything there was to know about submarines. And when Allie told him that her brother actually served on a nuclear submarine, the Spadefish, he went upstairs to the library and found some paperwork on that particular submarine and told her that she could, go through there and check out the articles and all the papers and pictures in that particular file for the Spadefish. And she ended up doing that and taking some pictures of different things to send to her brother. It was pretty cool because her brother got to go down memory lane and spending some time reminiscing with some of his buddies that he served on the Spadefish with. So after finishing touring the Submarine Museum there in St. Mary's, we ended up eating at the same restaurant we ate at the previous time we were there, called Siegel's Restaurant. And it did not disappoint, and we got to sit inside this time instead of sitting outside because we had Nikki. Very, very cool little place, and the food was great, as it was the last time. So we just got back from the Submarine Museum. We're over here and we were hanging out with Craig and Susan, and lo and behold, the people who live in this RV right over here actually recognized us from the YouTube, as they say. Ron and Beth.
This is what we love about the RV channel, is that we get to make a lot of new friends.
We have made so many friends through this channel.
We keep. Lifelong friends.
And oddly enough, we're going to be meeting some more people tomorrow, Chuck and Amy. They saw our Fort Clinch video last year, and
they live not too far from
They live literally like 7 miles, they said, from Fort Clinch. So they're actually thinking about a Class A from their trailer, so they want to kind of see ours.
Check out our Class A and see if this is something that they want to get.
Yep. So we're hanging out, we're having dinner and drinking and having a campfire. Guys, we just met new friends tonight. So, Allie and I were just taking showers. I was just finishing my shower, and this whole RV started rocking back and forth. I come out of the shower, and I look out this window, and I see just sand flying. I think there was a mini tornado here. We were getting a heck of a squall line. And this is why we decided not to go to Cumberland Island today. I mean, this is going to blow over hopefully fairly quick, but man, I would not want to be trapped on an island with this coming through. That would be pretty scary. I mean, it takes a lot to move this RV with the jacks down and everything. I was beginning to think we were going to get blown over for a minute. Right now, we're waiting on our friends Craig and Susan to come on over. They are on their way, so they're driving in this right now. And I'll add one more thing. These poor people over here that are tent camping, I don't see how their tents are going to survive this. This is another reason why, folks, we love the RV life. At least we feel a little bit safer in an RV than we did back in our tent days.
Well, our friends Craig and Susan had just arrived at our RV and we were hanging out for a little bit. And all of a sudden, Craig gets a text from the KOA campground that they're staying at saying that a tree had fallen, or a branch had fallen on their RV. We just had a big line of rain come through, some pretty strong winds. So we waited for them to text us a picture, and when they sent the picture, it was more than just a branch. It looked like a small tree had fallen leaning against their RV. So we are on the way over there now to the KOA to assess the situation and see what's going on. So let's just hope and pray that nothing was damaged, and just a quick little pick me up of a branch and move it out of the way, and everything's okay.
You get in between the RV and here and just push it that way. I mean, I can come down and help. Just don't want it to come back in. I don't want it to hit you.
You saw it come down?
So luckily Craig and Susan had ran their slides in before they came over to our place. Otherwise they would have had a lot more damage, because it would have hit this slide and it would have definitely done damage to the slide topper and who knows what. But they were lucky that they only had a little bit of damage right up here in this corner with the basically with the drip rail. It looks like maybe a little bit of damage on the roof, but could have been a lot worse. That's a big branch right here. Very big branch, and there's more of it over here. So I think that's going to be a lesson to me and Allie if we're going to be staying in a campground whenever there's trees around, because we've done this before. We've been staying at places like Payne's Prairie, and we came back and the trees were just rocking and rolling. I think from now on, if we know we're going to be gone for a while and there's a storm coming, we might just run the slides in as well to, you know, hopefully minimize any damage if a tree branch does fall. These are some big trees. Big trees, big storm. Told you guys when we were earlier, when I was showering and everything, and I just got out of the shower and the storm was blowing through and it was rocking and rolling our RV. It was bad.
So after helping Craig and Susan with their tree, we came back to the RV to meet up with a YouTube subscriber. We met with Chuck, and we weren't able to meet his wife this time, Amy, but we will look forward to meeting her next time. It was nice to hang out with Chuck a little bit and get to know him better. And then we went back downtown to Fernandina Beach and went back to the Amelia Island Brewing Company, and Chuck got his old Calamity Jane beer again. That was so tasty. We ended up having dinner there, and then we walked around the town a little bit.
So after we had dinner at the Amelia Island Brewing Company again, and I had my flight of beers, we decided to check out Florida's oldest bar, which is hard to believe that this would be the oldest bar in Florida, especially with St. Augustine being the oldest city. But they claim that they're the oldest bar. And I guess that one of the main drinks there that you have to try is the Pirate Punch, which I did not try because I'm sure it sounds like Pirate Punch probably has a lot of sugar in it. I just had a shot of tequila while we were there, and I had a neutral. Very cool bar though, very cool. We really enjoyed that. I said, so when we come back the next time, we definitely want to come back here, hang out more, because Allie wasn't able to drink this time. So that would be a fun place to hang out and have a drink.
So Chuck took me out for Valentine's dinner to Akari Sushi, and he knows that sushi is my favorite meal. So he treated me to that, and it was definitely yummy sushi.
Baby just got put in the corner.
Everybody puts baby in a corner.
Apparently they do here.
I guess. So if you're in Fernandina Beach and you're looking for some sushi, you gotta try Akari Sushi.
So this trip actually turned out to be quite the trip.
We enjoyed hanging with some old friends, and we made some new friends.
We've made so many friends through this channel, it's not even funny. So yeah. we give a shout out to Ron and Beth, and Chuck and Amy, even though we didn't meet Amy. But we will the next time we're here. We've already made plans to come back and do the Cumberland Ferry that we didn't get to do this time. So I think it's going to wrap it up here from Fernandina Beach and Fort Clinch State Park. This is probably going to be our last camping trip until we take it to Indiana, back to the factory.
Back to our home.
Yeah, back to get some work done, much needed work. We will see you guys maybe a few weeks from now because we're going to be without our RV for a while. But while we're up there, we're going to try to do some exploring, and hopefully we can still make a nice little camping trip, quote unquote camping trip out of it. It's going to be camping in a hotel for us though.
But we're always up for a new adventure.
We will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. And if you're new here, as always, we would love for you to join our adventure by clicking that subscribe button down below and
Ring the bell.
all right, we'll see you guys in the next one.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.